Winter arrived in Evermore. Its icy breath swept across the land. The days grew shorter, the nights grew colder. Yet a sense of fragile peace lingered in the air. The kingdom, once threatened by a vampire plague, had found its footing. Mage Damon, a hero of the recent past, had played a pivotal role in its survival. He stood alongside brave knights and a courageous princess. Together, they had faced down darkness and emerged victorious. Damon, ever vigilant, watched over them all. Whispers of strange occurrences began to surface. Travelers spoke of distorted pathways and shifted landscapes. Townsfolk shared tales of forgotten memories and misplaced belongings. Damon, his senses attuned to the magical currents of the realm, felt a growing dissonance. Damon, Barnabas, and Delphinia found themselves drawn together once more. The bonds forged in past trials held strong. They knew that the threat to Evermore was a threat to them all. Their individual strengths, when united, formed a formidable force against the encroaching darkness. Damon, disguised as the roguish dashing Darren, sought solace and adventure in the bustling port town of Evermore. He yearned for a specific song, a melody whispered to hold the key to a forgotten chapter in Evermore's history. His search led him to Bonnie Redboots, a fiery pirate with a mischievous glint in her eyes and a reputation that preceded her.
Many songs tell of such things.
It's the song of the last shackle, he revealed, a ship that dared to defy the tides of tyranny.
Follow me.
Inside, the tavern was dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of ale and salt water.
This song speaks of the last shackle, a slave ship that once sailed the seas, its hold filled with the cries of the oppressed. But the captives, yearning for freedom, rose up against their captors, led by a mysterious figure known only as the Shadow Captain. They seized control of the ship, transforming it from a vessel of despair into a beacon of hope.
Damon realized that this was no mere pirate ballad. It was a record of a forgotten rebellion, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to fight for freedom. As the final notes of the song faded, a heavy silence descended upon the tavern.
The song is more than just a story. It's a call to action, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope remains.
Damon nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of her words. He vowed to honor that legacy, to fight for freedom and justice wherever he found himself. Mage Damon entered the town on a day like any other, but as he ventured deeper into the heart of the town, a disquieting sensation settled upon him. The townsfolk, usually so warm and welcoming, seemed oblivious to his presence, their memories seemingly shrouded in an impenetrable fog. A chilling thought wormed its way into his mind. What if this forgetfulness was not a natural occurrence, but a symptom of something far more sinister? Determined to uncover the truth, Damon sought the guidance of Mela and Cal, the enigmatic mystics who resided on the outskirts of Evermore.
You are troubled, Mage Damon. We have been expecting you.
Damon recounted the strange events of the day, his voice laced with a mixture of confusion and growing dread.
There is a disturbance in the temporal streams. A rift has formed, a tear in the very fabric of reality.
What does this rift mean for Evermore? Damon asked, his voice barely a whisper.
The rift is a bridge between past and present, a doorway through which forgotten echoes can seep into our world.
An ancient alliance, long since forgotten, is attempting to rewrite history, to reclaim a power that was stripped from them eons ago.
Damon's mind reeled. An ancient alliance, forgotten magic, a reality unraveling. The weight of their words pressed down on him. Mage Damon, a solitary figure grappling with his waning magic, sought solace in the familiar rhythms of Evermore. The town, a curious labyrinth of intersecting pathways, became his sanctuary. He found himself drawn to its circular path, its winding turns mirroring the enigmatic nature of his own existence. Damon, his mind sharp despite his waning magic, sensed a hidden purpose behind this design, a purpose that echoed the intricate workings of fate itself. As Damon continued his daily walks, he began to encounter a curious assortment of individuals, each drawn to the circular path as if by an unseen force. There was Fletcher, a man clad in tan robes, his eyes filled with a quiet wisdom that hinted at a life lived on the edges of the unknown. Then there was Garrett, a knightly figure who carried himself with an air of quiet dignity despite his rather unconventional armor. One crisp afternoon, Damon crossed paths with Shadowford, a charismatic pirate captain with a twinkle in his eye and a swagger in his step. One evening, as the setting sun cast long shadows across Evermore, the four companions found themselves gathered at their usual spot on the circular path.
We are not strangers, are we? There is a reason we are drawn to this place, to each other.
Fate has a way of weaving its threads together, of bringing together souls who are meant to walk a common path.
And so the Order of the Owls was born, a brotherhood forged in the heart of Evermore, united by fate, purpose, and the watchful gaze of the owl. Damon found himself drawn to a small, leatherworking tent nestled in a quiet corner of Evermore. It was a place of warmth and artistry, where the air hung heavy with the scent of tanned hide and beeswax. Two sisters, Tamis and Saga, presided over this haven of craftsmanship. Their skilled hands transformed rough materials into objects of beauty and utility. One afternoon, as Tamis presented him with his completed belt, he noticed a series of intricate runes etched into the leather. They were faint, almost invisible to the naked eye, but he could feel their power thrumming beneath his fingertips.
Tamis smiled, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "A touch of magic," she replied, her voice as smooth and rich as the leather she worked with. "A little something to protect you on your journeys."
Damon felt a surge of excitement course through him. He had always been drawn to magic, had sensed its presence in the world around him, but to encounter it so directly, so tangibly, sent a thrill through his very core.
"You are more than just artisans," he stated, his voice filled with wonder.
Saga chuckled, her laughter as bright and sharp as the glint of metal on her workbench.
"We are the keepers of ancient traditions," she explained, her eyes sparkling with mischief, "the inheritors of a legacy passed down through generations."
She gestured to a dusty trunk tucked away in a corner of the tent.
"Our ancestors were more than leatherworkers and metalsmiths," she continued, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "They were shamans, healers, weavers of magic."
Tamis opened the trunk, revealing a collection of ancient artifacts. Bundles of dried herbs, strangely shaped stones, and a leather-bound book filled with faded ink and intricate diagrams. As she lifted the book, a faint humming filled the air, and Damon felt a surge of energy course through his body. "This book," Damon began, his voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He reached out a hand towards the book, drawn to its ancient power.
"It holds the key to our family's magic," Tamis finished, her voice soft but steady. "And we believe it has been waiting for you."
Damon's heart skipped a beat. The staff he carried, a gift from a forgotten time, suddenly felt heavy in his hand. He'd always sensed a deep well of power within it, a power he had yet to fully unlock. Could these sisters, these keepers of ancient traditions, help him unleash its full potential? As he gazed at the book, its pages filled with strange symbols and forgotten languages, he felt a stirring within his own soul. It was as if a part of him, long dormant, was awakening. The staff in his hand thrummed with a newfound energy, its crystal glowing with an inner light. He looked up at the sisters, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and trepidation. "Will you teach me?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper.
Tamis and Saga exchanged a knowing glance. "It is our destiny," Tamis replied, her voice filled with quiet conviction.
A palpable tension hung in the air, a stillness before a storm. Damon, Mela, and Cal stood at the heart of Evermore, where ley lines converged. The ground beneath their feet vibrated with an unsettling energy.
"The rift is at its weakest here," Mela stated.
Damon gripped his staff, its crystal thrumming in response. This was not just a battle for Evermore, it was a battle for reality itself.
"We must stand together," Cal intoned. "Our combined might can seal this rift and banish these echoes." As the last of my words faded, the air shimmered and crackled.
The swirling vortex of energy intensified, its colors shifting and swirling with a hypnotic intensity. Damon felt a pull, a force drawing him towards the heart of the rift. He glanced at Mela and Cal, their faces illuminated by the ethereal glow of the rift. They nodded, their expressions resolute. It was time.
Taking a deep breath, Damon steeled himself and stepped forward.
The world dissolved around him in a dizzying rush of colors and shapes. He felt a sense of disorientation, of being unmoored from time and space. He clung to the presence of his companions, their combined energy a beacon in the swirling chaos. As they journeyed deeper into the rift, they encountered fragments of forgotten memories, echoes of battles fought and victories won in ages past. The air crackled with the residual energy of ancient magic, its power both alluring and terrifying. Damon felt his own magic thrumming in response, eager to break free and join the chaotic dance. He fought to maintain his focus, reminding himself that their purpose was not to succumb to the chaos, but to impose order upon it. They had to find the source of the rift, the point where reality was most fractured, and seal it before Evermore was consumed by the encroaching darkness. They emerged into a dreamscape, a realm where the laws of physics seemed to bend and twist. Jagged peaks pierced a swirling sky of impossible hues. At the heart of it all stood a figure of immense power, its eyes burning with ancient light.
Damon, it's the Weaver, just as I described.
The Weaver, a being of pure magical energy, had returned. Amplified by fractured temporal streams, it sought to reclaim its dominion.
You dare to trespass in my domain?
Damon felt a surge of power, a primal energy resonating with Evermore. He raised his staff, its crystal glowing brightly.
Evermore is not yours to claim.
A fierce battle commenced, a clash of magic transcending time and space. Damon, drawing upon the ancient knowledge passed down by Tamis and Saga, understood that the Weaver's power stemmed from the rift itself. The fractured reality, while a threat to Evermore, was also the source of the Weaver's strength. To defeat the Weaver, they needed to sever its connection to the rift, to force it back into the void from whence it came. He shared his realization with Mela and Cal, their faces grim but resolute as they acknowledged the truth in his words.
We must focus our energies on the rift. We need to create a counter-vortex, a force strong enough to pull the Weaver back into the void.
Their combined magical energies, amplified by their unity of purpose, swirled around them, a whirlwind of defiance against the Weaver's oppressive power. Mela and Cal, their movements synchronized by years of shared knowledge and practice, joined their magic with Damon's. Their combined energies, a symphony of light and sound, pushed back against the Weaver's darkness, a beacon of hope in the heart of the chaotic dreamscape. The very fabric of reality strained and buckled as the opposing forces clashed. The dreamscape trembled, its impossible landscapes shifting and dissolving under the weight of their combined power. Damon felt a surge of hope, a glimmer of light in the encroaching darkness. The Weaver, sensing its power waning, let out a roar of rage that echoed through the fractured reality. It lashed out with tendrils of shadow and tendrils of pure magical energy, desperate to maintain its grip on the world it sought to control. But Damon, Mela and Cal held firm, their combined might a bulwark against the Weaver's onslaught. They focused their energies, their movements growing more fluid, more synchronized as they channeled the very essence of Evermore into their counter-vortex. The air crackled and sparked as the counter-vortex gained strength, its pull becoming irresistible even for the Weaver. The Weaver's form, once a terrifying visage of power, began to unravel, its edges fraying as it was drawn inexorably towards the heart of the rift. Damon watched, his heart pounding with a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration, as the Weaver was pulled screaming back into the void. The fractured reality around them stabilized, the impossible landscapes dissolving into shimmering motes of light. With a final surge of power, Damon, Mela and Cal sealed the rift, weaving together the torn threads of reality with a delicate precision born of years of practice and a profound understanding of the forces at play. Exhausted but triumphant, Damon, Mela and Cal stumbled back through the remnants of the rift, emerging into the familiar landscapes of Evermore. The air, once thick with chaotic energy, was now calm, the only sound the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze. They had saved Evermore. But Damon knew their victory was not absolute. The forces that had conspired to unleash the Weaver were still out there, lurking in the shadows.
It is over. For now, we must remain vigilant.
Damon nodded, his gaze drawn to the horizon, where the setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple. He knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger, but he also knew that he would not face it alone.